What's the cost of impatience? I love this question. I was actually just talking to a senior this morning about this question. And it's interesting because my parents have hundreds of berry plants on their property. And when you pick berries, you can't. If you pick too soon, you won't have a good berry. And berries, unlike some other fruits that will ripen kind of after the fact, if you pick it, you've lost it if it's not ready to be picked. And so I think about this idea of like you can't rush nature, right? And so the cost of impatience in gardening is that you actually have nothing. Like you don't get any of the fruits. You don't get to enjoy any of the work that you put in. And so you might have put everything in. You did the best soil, you doing the fertilizer, you watered it, you do all of that work for weeks. And then if you pick just too soon, you were right there at the finish line and you still lost out because you couldn't wait. And the same is true for things in our lives. There are things that you just can't rush. It was interesting. The conversation that I had this morning with the senior was all about impatience in relationship to relationships, and how that sometimes if you try and rush a relationship, that can actually put the other person off, and they then back away. And so even into how we interact with each other, that type of patience is needed. And so as you look around your life, look for the areas where you're trying to create shortcuts, right? And find workarounds, because sometimes in those areas where we're trying to rush, those are the exact areas where what we really need is actually a willingness to just wait a little bit longer. And patience is not idleness, right? For the gardener, it's not about you doing nothing. It's about you doing all of the right things in the right time. And so look at your life and find those areas where you're trying to rush and just ask yourself, what's the cost of impatience